Hey, this is Phil from CNG, and with me is...
I am Tim from CNG as well.
Yes, what a coincidence. And what are you doing right now?
I'm playing some Lego City Undercover. Yeah, this is the latest Lego game from Telltale. This one's actually done by TT Fusion, which has normally done most of their portable stuff, like the Vita versions of the Lego games and the DS versions, stuff like that.
Oh, so they didn't do like Lord of the Rings or Batman?
No.
Okay.
But you can definitely see the influence of those games on this one, because this is an open world, what I'm calling an open world action parody platformer, because like any of the other Lego games, it is rife with parody and references and jokes and things of that ilk. Go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. Now, how with the references and parodies and everything, how many were there? Because I played the Shawshank Club, but we talked about what other stuff?
Tons. At one point, just characters or caricatures of action movie tropes. For example, there's this one level where you're in a construction site, and the foreman of the construction site is an Arnold Schwarzenegger parody who's calling you a girly man and trying to get you to hurry up and move that crane.
Very nice.
Things like that. At one point, when you're in a police station, they're introducing, hey, look, a trampoline.
Nice.
Yay, bouncy. At one point, you're in a police station, they're introducing a couple of the other cops to you, and there's a dirty, hairy guy who drinks a lot of coffee, and they're like, hey, Harry, haven't you had too much coffee? And he's like, well, you got to ask yourself one question. Have I had 5 shots or 6 shots? And yeah, so a lot of stuff like that.
Very silly then.
What you're seeing right now is these kind of like blue blocks that I'm climbing on. These are kind of your action free run sequences.
Gotcha.
So you can kind of do things like run on walls and then, parkour, stuff like that.
Were there parkour chase sequences in it?
There was. I believe the first level takes place on several building rooftops, kind of much like I'm doing right now, sliding along fire escapes and things like that, running on walls.
Right on.
Oh, a little slow-mo ramping there. Past the guy reading the paper. There you go.
Now, how did they take advantage of the San Francisco setting? Because I thought that was an odd choice.
Yeah, it's, well, at least this part of the city is very San Francisco inspired. There's also a very New York inspired part of the city which features like a Times Square type environment where you can that's what you get for laying about, wreck your stuff. Where there's like this Times Square part where you can go off a ramp and fly through the air through Times Square. It's kind of cool.
Very cool.
So a little more action platforming stuff going on here. And then this is, see, just like that. So all this blue stuff will allow you to do these fun kind of free running things, which makes, some of the environment traversal pretty unique and interesting. So
how about driving? How's that hold up?
The driving holds up fine, as one would expect in a Lego game. Obviously, we're not talking about much in terms of realistic car physics or anything like that, but a couple nice touches that make it very Lego. Like, for example, when you're driving in a car, you can, I've got my chicken firing eggs. When you're driving in a car, if you hit another car, pieces of Lego will break off. I'm gonna steal a cab right here.
Cool.
Sorry, borrow, because it's a kid's game, you see. You don't steal anything.
And they're very happy.
Yes. It's for police business, you see. So, but you mentioned the San Francisco setting. So this is one of those references. This is a very famous street in San Francisco. I can't remember the name of it, but you know the one I'm talking about, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure most people who are familiar at all with the city would know. And yeah, there's you get in a chase at one point down this street, like of course you were going to as soon as you saw it.
Right.
So, and then off in the distance you can see the Golden Gate Bridge and things like that. But there are different parts of the map which are inspired of different areas. There's a couple boondocks areas, which kind of are a little bit reminiscent of things like Dukes of Hazzard and things like that.
Cool.
So actually, one of the weird mechanics for this game is they actually encourage you to wreck stuff, like the Lego games. Well, yeah, see, I'm getting blocks here. It's actually comboing just by plowing through things. And what those blocks will do, they will allow me to use super build pads, which can be found throughout the environment, which will kind of, there's one on top of the police station that will create a new helipad, so I can bring in a helicopter and then fly around in a helicopter. But just out in the open world, see, these are the big super build blocks right there, behind that screen. So in order to get that, I'm gonna have to use a different costume, because right now I'm dressed as a farmer, but you can quickly switch to one of the 8 different costumes that you unlock throughout the course of your journey.
Right.
This one requiring a crowbar, so that will be the robber costume here. So let's just pry open this door like a good criminal can.
I see a space one in there.
Yes, there is an astronaut costume, which is actually one of the more full-featured costumes.
Okay.
I'll switch over to that.
So is there like a space section?
Yep, you actually go to a place called Apollo Island, which is like Cape Canaveral, and there's a whole launch pad there, and you go up. Eventually, you end up in space. Spoiler. Okay. I won't talk any more about that, but you do go up into space at one point. So the astronaut has a jetpack that allows him to reach certain areas. He also has a ray gun that'll shoot things, and he can also access teleporters, which you can find throughout the world, which will teleport you kind of inside buildings and stuff. This one requires a fire axe, so we'll just go to the fireman costume.
Easily the longest of all the Lego games. How did you find it held up after that, like 12 hours of playthrough?
Today is actually the first day I've gone back and started playing after I finished my playthrough, and I was like, oh man, I really shouldn't have put this game down, because it is quite fun to just run around the open world now that I'm not playing the story.
Right.
And it's always just to build things and find new ways to access different parts of the environment. Like, if I hadn't built that little pad there, I wouldn't have been able to get up on this roof and continue my action platforming, parodying here.
Right. But I mean, was there enough variance in the gameplay that it didn't get tedious?
No, because they do a really good job of rolling out these new costumes as you progress through the story. Gotcha. So, like by the end of it, you've unlocked all of them. Like, I think if I bring up the wheel here, there you go. There's 8 of them, so by the end of the game, you'll have unlocked all of them, and they all allow you to access different areas of the environment and have different weapons and tools you can use to, break blocks or take down bad guys, things like that. But mostly in just being able to access new areas of the environment, which keeps it fresh, because you can always go back to areas you've already played in the Lego game and then access new areas with your new abilities.
I do love doing that.
Yes. So there's like the cop outfit will allow you to do investigation stuff like I'm going to do here, where I whip out my own Wii U tablet and then follow the trails. Now you can't actually hear it, but there's actually a really sweet bass line that plays, like a Starsky and Hutch inspired bass line, like. So, and the tricky thing is just to get to where it's trying to lead you, and then I'll uncover whatever's there. And sometimes it's a block, sometimes it's a way to access another area. In this case, it's a valve.
So how'd you feel this held up overall? Like, is this a good direction for the Lego games?
I think it is.
The parodies?
Yeah, the parody is something we've come to know from the Lego series in any regard. And this is a great way to do it with the Lego City brand, which is a brand that lends itself to parody quite well, having it be an urban setting. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it did hold up well. Like, the game kept me laughing and kept me interested in the ridiculous send-up of kind of this. You play as Chase McCain, who's a cop who kind of plays by his own set of rules and is back in town. Yeah, and so just his butting heads with Chief Dunby and things like that were very funny. There's also the lovable Frank Honeypot, who's your bumbling sidekick, who just kind of an innocent guy, wants to, he thinks Chase McCain is the coolest guy in the world and wants to do the cool things he does, but it never seems to work out for him. So I feel bad for him there. But yeah, it's a good direction for them to go. I mean, we have an original story, original voice acting, and an original environment in which to spend time. So it kind of is a culmination of where the Lego series has been going for the past couple years. So, and that's nothing but a good thing. So the only big omission is the absence of co-op, which we've come to know and love in the Lego games. It's kind of what made them famous, and they decided to go a different direction in this. And I understand why, but I kind of wish they didn't. I wish they maybe had put in some little co-op side missions or something that I could do with my friends. Maybe playing it, like have my friend play as Frank Honey, or something. Did I call him Honeypot before? It's just Frank Honey, but yeah, play as him, and then have him, kind of back me up. But it is still a good single-player experience. You'll have a lot of fun with it. It's one that you can kind of drop in and drop out of by, like, right now I could hand you the controller and you would have no problem smashing bricks or running around in the environment whatsoever. So It's got that going for it, but I kind of do miss the co-op from time to time.
Gotcha. All right, good to know. Well, I guess I'm going to have to sink at least 12 hours of my life into this now.
I think you should. And if you're still unsure on whether, gamers out there, if you're still unsure on whether you should sink 12 hours of your life into it, you can read my full review on CGMagazine.ca, which is available right now. Go check it out. And check out Lego City Undercover, exclusive to the Nintendo Wii U.